about us because we understand the importance of representation of decision makers. And in this instance, with regard to our small donor committee, which we're so thrilled that you're all here with us to officially launch it, and to hear from some of our fabulous reproductive justice champion candidates, that we strongly, deeply believe that representation matters. So Color is this is our 22nd year as an organization, and we have spent many, many years building the stage, setting the stage, building community capacity for what we are embarking on currently, Color Action Fund, and tonight our small donor committee and our endorsement. We believe strongly in having those most marginalized when it comes to decision making, policy making, having those voices at the center and having that connection to community, and ensuring that communities of color are not disproportionately harmed, but even more so, coming from a values and proactive stance, like what can we do collectively to help build our community so that our community can actually live safe, healthy, self-determined lives. And so in 2018, we officially launched Color Action Fund to help us, again, take us to the next level and really help hold elected officials accountable, to engage our community in different ways in the election. We understand how important voting is, not just because of the issues that we vote on, but who we are electing in office, and how important it is to hold elected officials accountable, but also to develop friendships, relationships, like joint common values. Like we're all in this together and we want to be we want to be a friend, we want to be a supporter. We also want to share what we believe is important for our community, and ensuring that reproductive justice is not just a term that people use, but a value and framework that people implement and apply in their day-to-day lives and decision making, and particularly when it comes to policy making. And so again, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will hear from a handful of our amazing endorsed candidates. And one of the things before I turn it over to our speakers, one of the things that we really feel important and are really proud of supporting the work of the Latino Caucus since the election in 2018 and the growth of the caucus. We have really made intentional efforts to engage, and again, within that spirit of partnership. And I'm just so proud of all of the work that the Latino Caucus has done. I'm so proud that the caucus is so integrally, that's not right. They're so connected and invested in our in Latino Advocacy Day, which is a really important event. And we really want it to be more than an event. We want it to be opportunity for our community to engage with their elected officials. So, and I also want to acknowledge my amazing staff, many of whom are on the Zoom, and Jenna and Alva for putting this together, and Hannah, our comms manager, and all of the support and passion that my staff and board bring. Am I getting emotional? Everybody knows I'm a crybaby. Okay, so, and I also want to thank True Apodaca, who is going to help co-facilitate tonight with me. And first, I would like to turn it over to the amazing Representative Dr. Yadira Caraveo.
Well, thank you, Dusty. And there is a lot to get emotional about. This group has become very integral in the Capitol as well. And then we'll only do so more as things like the Action Fund grow and are able to get people like us elected to office. My name is Yadira Caraveo, and I am a state representative in District 31, which makes up most of Thornton. And when I'm not doing things at the legislature, I'm a pediatrician. And so I see the impact of reproductive justice, education, and the health disparities that affect the Latino community in clinic every single day. And we're really seeing that right now in terms of coronavirus. I'm lucky in that by being a pediatrician, kids are doing fairly well with the illness, although I'm sure you've all heard about this entity that first started in New York because of the number of cases that they had there. Called multi-system inflammatory syndrome. There's new data coming out that I was just reading about today that the levels of that complication in children are much higher in Latino and Black youths than in white communities. And so we're seeing these disparities really with coronavirus as well. We're seeing it affect much more the Latino population than the white population in the United States. You know, even though here in Colorado, the Latino population is about 20% of Coloradans, about a third of the people that are being hospitalized right now in Colorado are Latino. And, you know, I think it's, people can sit around and wonder why it is that it's affecting the Latino population more, but it's things that people like us understand, right? It's that we've always had less access to healthcare. We've always had higher rates of cardiovascular disease, of diabetes, of complications from these illnesses, we work in areas that put us at higher risk, whether it's as healthcare workers, as frontline workers who are serving food, who are in janitorial services, who are first responders. We're exposing ourselves much more, and we have jobs that don't allow us necessarily to work from home, right? You can't do these jobs from behind a computer. And so we're seeing much higher rates of infection among Latino populations, and we're seeing much higher rates of complications among the Latino population because of coronavirus. And at the same time, while we're seeing these high rates of infection and complication, we have some of the lowest rates of accessibility to healthcare. While the ACA or Obamacare made a big, huge difference in terms of our ability to access healthcare, especially in terms of the Medicaid expansion, we're still at much higher rates of uninsured individuals amongst Latinos than any other ethnic group in Colorado. And so we kind of get a double whammy where we're sicker and we have less access to healthcare. And really, we see that in all areas of healthcare because policies have been written about us, but without us for decades. And I think that as the largest Latino caucus in the history of the Colorado legislature, we continue to come up against these issues because that we have had decades of policy that's been written without groups like Color at the table, without large numbers of Latinos at the table. And so still, even in 2020, we have to pipe up and say, you know, you're writing legislation as though our population doesn't exist, as though 1 in 5 people in Colorado are not Latino. And we need a voice at the table to talk about how deeply these things impact us in ways that you do not understand if you're not part of the Latino population. And so that is something that we continue to fight for. And that is particularly important in reproductive justice. I think that there is often an assumption that contraception and reproductive health care is readily accessible to all women and to all men. And that's not necessarily the case. Like I said, we have much higher rates of uninsured amongst Latinos than in other populations. And it's a different in terms of cultural issues, right? I know that as a pediatrician, I still have moms who are Latina who bring in their daughters when they have their first period for me to talk to them about what puberty is and what's going to be going on. And to talk to them about the very, very principles of contraception and things like that. And so I see those issues at both the Capitol and in clinic every single day. And so it's really important for groups like Color to exist so that we can talk about things in the context of the Latino population and to talk about the differences that we have culturally and in terms of access when you compare us to other Coloradans. And so I'm incredibly excited that you guys are going down this path, that there will be a way to support candidates who are Latino, who are people of color, that can come down to the Capitol and further amplify our voice. You know, there's 13 of us now, but that's out of 100 people. And so we still sometimes feel like we get drowned out. So the more of us that there are, the more powerful we become, and the more our issues are brought to the forefront, the more likely that we are going to be to access healthcare, to have healthcare tailored to our population, and to make it so that not all decisions leave us out. And so I'm very happy to join you in this endeavor and to be down at the Capitol with other representatives like Representative Tipper, who has been a great champion for all issues that affect Latinos and in a very important part of the Latino caucus. And so with that, I will pass it over to Kerry to talk to you a little bit more.
Actually, really quickly, so sorry to interrupt. Hi, Kerry. I will have you jump in just a second, but before we get to you, I wanted to actually go through and recognize the legislators that are here today, as well as the candidates as well. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start on the top row and work my way down as I see it on my screen. The first representative I see is Representative Monica Duran out of House District 24. We also have, let's see, Representative Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez from House District 4. We also have, sorry, I'm just going through. We also have Stephen Woodrow, Representative Stephen Woodrow out of House District 6. I also have, I think that's all the electeds that I am seeing. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and I just wanted to recognize, because we have some candidates who are not speaking tonight, but just to go through, Beatriz Soto, we see you, welcome. We also have Chris Kolker. Hey Chris, good to see you as well. We have Iman Jodeh, who's running for the House as well. Sally Bocella, who's running for the Senate up in Weld County. We have Tracy Burnett, good to see you, Tracy. We also have Dr. Veterinarian Kerry McCormick. We also have Lindsay Doherty here with us today. Hi, Lindsay. And let's see, I think that's all of them. If I've missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Free to chime in, but I just wanted to say hi and recognize the folks who are here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, representation matters. And that's why we're doing this. So with that said, we'd like to pass it off to Representative Kerry Tipper.
Thank you, True. It's good to see you. It's good to see everyone. And yeah, I was going to say, do you pierce babies' ears? Because that's like the true measure of the Latinas. So, I come to you today really excited to be here. I'm a state representative out of Lakewood. So I have basically Lakewood south of 6th Avenue, which I think it's a community that I grew up in for the most part. When I was little, we lived in Costa Rica and Mexico. And then when we came back to the US, we settled in Lakewood. And it's a community that's changed a lot. It's a community that's seen a lot of flight from Denver west as things got expensive. And now, of course, as things are expensive in Lakewood as well. I saw a Denver Post headline today that the median home average in Denver was $600,000 for the first time ever. So we're seeing prices not quite that high, but certainly home prices have just priced lots of people out. So it's just my distinct honor to be here. I come to you today in a bit of a different position. I'm about 8 months pregnant. So for me, reproductive justice and sort of the intimacy that you have with your doctor during really difficult times. Getting pregnant was very hard for me. It was a long road for my husband and me. And that gave me just a very new perspective on the kinds of conversations that you have with your doctors. And then particularly as a Latina, the pressure with infertility on top of that, and sort of the cultural issues that intersect there, speak to some of the things that Yadira was talking about, which is it's hard to understand unless you come from that background. You have those experiences, or you have family members that have had those experiences, or friends. So my role today is just to talk to you a little bit about the Latino caucus, which Yadira mentioned. There are 13 of us, and as she said, that's a historic number for us. We actually have an opportunity to grow the caucus this election cycle. We've got some really great candidates running for office, great Latinos running for office in different parts of the state. And to just give you guys an idea of what that means, and Yadira talked a little bit about this, but numbers matter. We know that, right? And it can be something as simple as we have a difficult conversation to have with the governor of the state of Colorado. And if you go into that conversation by yourself, it's very different than if you roll deep with 10 other Latinos that are saying, this is important, and this is why, and this is how it affects, you know, every area of my community. Without us at the table, those conversations either get lost in the noise or just aren't elevated, to be completely honest. And even with the number that we have, I mean, our caucus chair, Serena's on here as well, will tell you it's still hard sometimes to be heard, even for us as state legislators. There have been things that have happened, and the caucus has not been consulted. And so when you think of that disparity, even having 13 elected Latinos in the Democratic caucus with a Democratic governor and Democrats controlling every branch of government in the state of Colorado, you would think that that would give us tremendous voice and platform. It's certainly more than I think I would expect under other circumstances, but we still have to fight for it. But we're very motivated to do so because I think, you know, personally, and I would venture to guess that the other legislators on here feel the same way, you realize the significance of what we can do with a united voice. And like all good Latinos, we don't agree on everything, and we represent very different districts, have very different experiences. So we also bring diversity within our caucus, which I think is important and is truly reflective of Latinos across the state, and then of course across the country in the United States. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at local races and people say, like, you know, all politics is local. I have seen that more than anything really over the course of the last 2 years, the significance of that. Issues that to us are sort of no-brainers are like mind-blowing to other people. And it's just lived experience, right? And certainly my lived experience is different than others. But it's just the significance of, I think, having different voices elected into office. Trying to look at my notes here and see what else. So the other thing I'll mention is that Color has just been a tremendous partner, and I think Latino Advocacy Day is what to me is most inspiring about that is how young the group is. Like the people that are coming, you know, young folks really involved, because one of the things that's most important to us as a caucus is building the bench. Recognizing how we got here on, and Senator Gonzalez always says this, the shoulders that we stand on, the people that lifted us up, the generations before us, that fought to have seats at the table, not even in the legislature, right? So recognizing that this is an opportunity for us to build the bench and build that next generation, that's something we're very focused on, and we can't do that without collaborating with organizations like Color and having that presence at the Capitol, because it's also really meaningful to have, you know, 150 people come to the Capitol and speak to their individual representatives and senators. That moves people. And a mentor of mine once said, change moves at the speed of relationships, and that's something that I've really taken to heart. The same is true at a micro level in politics, is change moves at the speed of relationships. So making sure that we're developing those relationships and that constituents and people coming to the Capitol and advocating on behalf of individuals are doing the same is really important. So a great way to support us as a caucus is to support organizations like the Color Action Fund. A lot of the work we just can't do ourselves. We can't reach the audience that Color can reach. So we're super grateful to be sort of in the trenches with Color, and also to be supporting candidates that are allies and just share our values. And I think certainly one of those candidates is Iman, who's running in a seat in Aurora, I believe. I can't remember which seat it is. No one cares the number. We all fixate on number, but only Mike Weissman knows every single House district number. 5? Did I
41.
say? 41.
Yeah.
41, not even close. So happy to take any questions, but would love to hear from a rising star that is well known, I think, especially the repro community, well known at the Capitol in a good way. And we are just so excited to have her join the Democratic Caucus in 2021.
Well, thank you. It's so good to see so many beautiful humans on this call, but also so many friends as well and allies, which means so much to me. My name is Iman Jodeh, and I'm running for House District 41, which is pretty much Aurora. It is a solid blue seat, and it has been for decades. So I'm very happy and honored to be carrying on the mantle for my predecessors. I'm also very proud of my district because they have chosen to nominate the first Muslim and first Arab woman to represent them in Colorado state history at the legislature. And I think this is such an amazing opportunity for us as people of color really to come together and our allies to say, you know, we really want someone who is a reflection and a breath of our community to represent us at the Capitol. And we're not going to allow people like Donald Trump to dictate what we want to see in our representation. And so I think it's time that we break that glass ceiling, and I think it's overdue, but I think it's an awesome opportunity for us to come together as allies to diversify the diversity at the Capitol. I think one of the things that I have admired about Color over the years through my role at the Interfaith Alliance of Colorado, fighting for reproductive rights and justice, has really been their unapologetic stance to defend a woman's reproductive rights and also people of color. Like I said, will be the first Muslim and Arab woman. And I think there is a huge stigma around my identity in this day and age, unfortunately, which with your help, we will dismantle together. And one of these stigmas is the actual facts around how Muslims in Islam view reproductive justice and a woman's right to an abortion, quite frankly. Many people don't know this, but I did testify against the 22-week abortion ban this session. And one of the things I said was, as a Muslim woman, I have rights that are protected in Islam that are my own reproductive rights. And that if my religion, or even, my ethnicity, who can often be viewed as primitive and non-progressive, not only protects a woman's right for an abortion and her reproductive rights, but it allows and understands and almost protects a woman's pregnancy, knowing that there is no monolith when it comes to pregnancy, being a mother, and the arduous journey of being pregnant. And I know my future collaborator, Kerry, is probably, in that boat right now. And I can't tell you how much I support you on your journey, but there is a beautiful saying in Islam, and it says, heaven is under the feet of your mother. And the reason for that is because of all of the things that she did for you. She carried you for 9 months and breastfed you and stood over your cradle and watched your chest go up and down, right? She put Band-Aids on your boo-boos and took you back and forth to school when you forgot your textbooks and shuttled you to practice and did all those things, right? And not to discount the men in our lives, right? but there is literally no being on earth like a mother. And her ability to give and sustain life should be a human right. And so I was very proud to partner with 111, No on 111, and the Interfaith Alliance of Colorado, as well as the Women's Lobby of Colorado, where I sit on the board, to publicly proclaim why, as a Muslim woman, we have a right, a human right, to protect our reproductive rights as women, and that we should vote no on 115. Sorry, did I say 111? 115 this November. And so it's on my Facebook, it's on my Twitter, and you know, other platforms are sharing it, because I think again, bringing that unique view as a Muslim woman, as a practicing Muslim woman, who can start to dispel myths around being an Arab Muslim woman at the Capitol through equal representation, will start to dismantle a lot of those stereotypes. So thank you again for all of the work you do. And please know, I always say this, but I want to take the opportunity to reiterate it. I am a huge believer and lover of collaboration and community, and I will always have an open door policy to everyone on this call. So please lean on me whenever necessary.
Thank you, Iman. I'm really looking forward to working with you this next session. You know, I just wanted to introduce two more folks who have joined us on the call today. We have Representative Sonia Hawkes-Lewis, as well as Representative Brianna Tatone. Welcome to the Zoom. Glad to see you, ladies. We will actually move on now just a little bit. You know, it's not just about the new candidates expanding into the legislature. This year, we've also endorsed our first ever county commissioner race. These seats are incredibly impactful to our daily lives, and the Latinx population of Garfield County has never had a commissioner making these decisions informed by their community's perspectives. But Beatriz Soto is the candidate who has a chance to take the seat and give a real voice to Latinx community members in the area. So with that, I'd like to introduce Beatriz Soto.
Hola, hello todos. First of all, I want to thank Color for their endorsement. You are the first organization to endorse me, so gracias. My name is Beatriz Soto, and I'm running for Garfield County Commissioner. I'm the mother of a 9-year-old. I care about his and our collective future. I work hard every day to elevate the voices of Latinos to protect our public lands and our environment as the director of Defiende Nuestra Tierra. I am an organizer, and I work side by side with my community to bring forward the diverse voices of the Western Slope to the forefront of our most pressing issues. I'm the co-founder of Voces Unidas de la Montaña, a nonprofit built to create opportunities for Latinos to speak and advocate for themselves. I'm also the co-founder of Visión Latina, a collective of women looking to empower other women in our valley. And now I want to continue to do this work at our local government level. And this is why I'm running for Garfield County Commissioner. A little bit about my district is that we have a very large territory. We are approximately 60% public land. Our population is around 60,000 people, of which 30% are Latino. Honestly, I think it's more than 30%. Our school district at this point is 60% Latino, so you can imagine how the demographics are going to change in the coming years. Our current leadership are 3 men that collectively have been in office for 46 years. So I'm running for District 2, and I'm running against an incumbent that has been in office for 24 years, and he is running for the 7th term. Our county commissioners do not have term limits, and the BOCC has not seen a woman since 2010. So I'm running against a person that's been in office since I was 16 years old. Even though we are so diverse, the representation at decision-making tables are very limited on the Western Slope. And we have a lot of power building to do locally. And we are changing that. We are working really hard to change that dynamic on the Western Slope. And I want to help Color come into our community and empower our local Latinos. We are doing that, but we need allies, and we need to work with partners on the Front Range that have built power for the past decades and that are far more ahead than where we are in the Western Slopes and in our rural communities in Colorado. But I think with collaboration, we can really get to that point a lot faster. So we're working, again, we're working to change that. I want to work with Color and support and activate our members in the Latino community on the Western Slope to become vocal advocates, volunteers, and, you know, reproductive justice voters. I want to make sure that we have more candidates that look like us and that can truly represent the Latino community in our rural communities. And we've already started to have presence at the Capitol level. This past year, we had about 40 people from the Western Slope come to Latino Advocacy Day. So we are starting to build those partnerships. We are starting to have presence at the Capitol and making sure that our elected officials on the Western Slope are also held accountable, and making sure that Latinos on the Western Slope are also having presence and are also stepping up to these positions. So again, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be running this race, and I look forward to collaborating as well with all these amazing people and making sure at a county commissioner level, we also have representation and that we're working together.
Thank you so much, Beatriz. It's so nice to virtually meet you. I can't wait to actually meet you in person. So this is about investing in champions like Beatriz so that they can hopefully become leaders like Representatives Caraveo, Tipper, and one of our biggest champions, Representative Monica Duran. She's going to tell us a little bit more about the power of women and Latinos in the Colorado legislature. So with that, I'd like to pass it on to my friend, Representative Monica Duran.
Thank you, True. I appreciate that. You know, this, just sitting here listening to everyone, I mean, really just fills my heart and soul, because, you know, it wasn't too long ago where I felt like I was alone when I ran even for the fire board, right? I didn't see a lot of candidates that looked like me. I didn't have representation that looked like me. So this, looking at all of you, hearing all your stories and everything you hope to do with your races really makes me feel really amazing. I'm Monica Duran. I represent House District 24, which is Golden, Wheat Ridge, and Edgewater. And I am running for re-election this year. And what I want to say is having 13 of us in the Latino caucus is just amazing. We are all uniquely different, and we all bring different talents to the table, but together we're a force to be reckoned with. And we have managed, and I really do have to kind of give you know, a shout out to our chair. Serena is here. I mean, in the last 2 years has really put together an amazing caucus and really kind of helped us structure ourselves so we have that strength and that power, so that when we come together, whether it's on policy, whatever it might be, even within the governor's office, and we're there, we're heard and we're valued. Now, we have a lot more work to do, but we're in the process. We're moving forward, and that I am just so grateful and appreciative for. The other thing, too, is I think with Color, I have to say, you have built the foundation with our communities and kind of integrating the relationships between our community and with us as elected officials, whether it's at, you know, the grassroots level, municipalities, because those races matter. Building the bench, whether that is starting with fire board, city council, state on up, building those relationships are so important. And Color has done that with our community. And because they've done it with our community and they've done it with all of us, then we're able to have a voice and a say in the policies that we are working on and we are passing, right? Whether that is reproductive justice, whether it is immigration, whether it's healthcare, whatever that might be, our voice is being heard. And our needs are different than some of our other colleagues within their districts and their communities. We know, we grew up that way, right? My family are migrant farm workers. So you know, my experience and what I bring in my life story is different than maybe, you know, some others. But the bottom line is that our voice is there, we're coming together, we're making sure that we are all standing up for our communities of color and what their needs are, and for once having a seat at the table to negotiate some of these things, which is so important. The partnership that we have with you is extremely important because you can reach a larger number of folks out there, but working together, we're unstoppable. And I am so grateful for everything you do, so grateful for the support that you give us. And we need to continue supporting you so that you can help us and we help each other. It's really about us as a family. So I am grateful to be here, grateful to have your support, and look forward to what we can do as we move into the 2021 session. And we make sure that those who are our most vulnerable aren't forgotten. And they are heard, and that's what our job is, and that's why I'm here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Monica. That was amazing. So I just wanted to take some time now to see if anybody had any questions. I don't know if, I don't see the raise hand function, but if you want to wave at me, I will do my best to scan to see if anyone has any questions, either for myself, for Color, or any of the candidates. I am looking. I don't see any waves. I'll give you another second to think about it.
Sonia.
There we go.
We have Sonia?
Yes, hi.
All right.
Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Good. I was going to challenge everybody to take out your phones and just type in Color Action. If you just put Color Action right in Google, it takes you right to the donate button. And I'm getting ready to do it right now. So I was going to tell everybody, do it. Take out your phone. There's the donate button right there. It's big red. I love it. Just pull it out. Start punching it in. I'm going to do it. So I just want to thank you so much for the work you do. I can't tell you how many times before state affairs, if I didn't have Carla and everybody with Color coming to help us give testimony, you made those nightmare Republican bills that we had to sit through. You made them tolerable and palatable for us to sit back and listen to you. And thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you. So donate time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the plug. Do we have any other questions or plugs? Questions, actually. Iman?
I chime in really quick? Sorry, about just 1 second. I would be remiss if I didn't really honestly thank you for the allyship. I am not only a first-generation American and Coloradan, but I'm the daughter of immigrants and refugees. And I know that many of us here fit that identity as well. And I was just telling Serena, like, I stand on your shoulders. I stand on everyone's shoulders here. And I really don't feel like I could do the work that we need to do if it wasn't for everyone here. And when I look at, you know, Monica, who has held my hand through this process, and Kerry, who was one of my very first supporters, Carlos, who taught me so much, you know, I just think about all of you and what you've done. And so I'm just so indebted, and I just have so much gratitude for Color.
You're not going to be that tall if you stand on my shoulders, so I'm just going to tell you right now.
That's why it's all of us.
It takes a village for sure.
Maybe on Brianna's.
You're taller than you think, Serena.
So I just wanted to add, and so something really cool about my story is that I just became an American citizen in January. So I'm actually, I was born in Mexico, and my parents brought me here. They crossed the Rio Bravo when I was 2 years old. So I am an immigrant, and I have a Native American, right? My first child is a native Colorado. So he's first generation, but yeah, I'm a baby American. I just became an American citizen.
And you get to vote for yourself the first time you vote in an election, which is
Wow.
What a great way to christen your citizenship with becoming a candidate and participating in this project of democracy.
Wow.
And winning.
Is your donation link in the chat?
I
Yes.
can't put my webpage in there, but I'll type it again.
So,
All right.
do we have any other questions or comments that folks want to share before we close it out with a few more remarks from me? Anybody else?
Can I just say hello?
Yes.
Hi,
do.
everybody. Sorry I was late. I was out canvassing and I lost track of time. You know, I'm really grateful for all the work that you guys have been doing down at the Capitol for so many years. And what I really appreciate is the intersectionality of your organization, and, you know, bringing in the voices of the LGBT community, especially the trans community, because there's so many overlapping things with reproductive justice and the LGBTQ community. And you know, that's why I'm such a strong advocate for your organization and for immigrants and everyone else, because if they start taking advantage of anyone, they're going to get us all, and we have to stand together to make sure that we are standing tall and strong. And your organization is one of the great, really the one that brings us all together. And thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you. It looks like Michael might have a question.
Yeah, well, one quick one. I was just going to thank the people that are already sitting representatives for making my time at the Capitol an amazing one as a volunteer lobbyist, and that I hope to see you again very soon. For those of you that are going to be on healthcare related committees, especially, I will be very, very excited to see you.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you there as well.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, real quick before I let Dusty, I did notice that I did miss mentioning Josh Bogan, who's here representing Representative Daphne Michelson-Janae. So, hi Josh. Sorry I missed you earlier in the conversation.
No worries, I don't count. It's fine. But Daphne does send her love and her support.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
I think, isn't Chris Kolker also running for the Senate?
He is.
Chris, thank you for joining us. And so I think my comms manager, Jenna, probably did too, take a screenshot of the beautiful faces and the diversity of, like, why am I so emotional? I think I'm just tired. But I just am so excited.
Are you sure, Dusty?
Oh, hell no, not that.
We love you.
Thank everyone for taking the time to just do what you do and to join us. I also want to acknowledge, again, my team, my amazing lobby team, True and Mary Alice, who have really helped take our organization to another level. Christ. So I want everyone to keep an eye out. Follow us, follow Color Action Fund on our Facebook and Instagram. We will be, I think, the next day or so, rolling out all of our endorsements. We have a total of 34 which we're very excited. And I hope that you all love the graphics as much as we do. It's part of an amazing digital program that we're working with a great partner out of DC to create. I also want to acknowledge Color Action Fund board members who are here with us today, who also help us tremendously in helping to shape our vision and help Jenna a lot in all of the hats that she wears running our C3 field and our C4 field program. So Carlos Valverde, Cristina Solis, Josette Jaramillo, and Alejandro Munoz. And then lastly, I want to thank you, Iman, for bringing up the Prop 115, which we are working diligently, many, many hours. I serve as the co-chair for the campaign committee, and we are working and fortunately have been able to raise funds to run our first Color Action Fund like field program. So we'll be doing mail pieces, phone and digital. So we're super excited about that. And also thank you, Sally Bocella, who will be participating. I think she put the link in the chat. We'll be participating on a panel to talk about and create more awareness around the defeating 115 on October 5th. So if you all have any other questions, we're always here. Jenna, I think, put her email there. My email is easy, dusty@colorlatina.org. We are super excited to continue this partnership with you all, to continue growing our small donor committee so that we can help support candidates, our reproductive justice candidates, in more ways than the ways that we're able to now. So Jenna, do you want to have the last word, honey, since you or either you or Alva, since you put so much work in putting this together? Alva, honey, maybe just introduce yourself to everyone, and then we will let you all go, and you have a little bit of time left in your evening, but you'll hear more from us. And again, I just appreciate all of you so much.
Hey everybody, my name is Alva. You've probably been getting all of the emails from me about this event. I'm our donor and events coordinator, so if you're trying to make any planned giving to us, any of the above, you're always welcome to email me, Dusty, Jenna, the whole team. Thanks for attending so much.
Thank you all. And Kerry, you look fabulous, honey.
Wait, I have a question.
Mary Alice, yes.
So Jenna, how much can people give to the Small Donor Committee? It's a big amount, right?
Thank you so much for asking, Mary Alice. So tonight's fundraiser is on behalf of Color Action Fund, but the first $50 of your contribution will go to the Small Donor Committee, which of course endorses these fabulous reproductive justice candidates that you've been hearing about. And by the way, everyone, all of these beautiful, fabulous, wonderful things that you've been saying, I am going to take them and make another video out of them because they're beautiful and you are everything that we are trying to get elected and all of the change that we are trying to make happen. And that $50 of these contributions goes directly to candidates. It is the only entity within Color that can give directly to candidate campaigns. So please make sure, max out your $50 contribution. If you can't give $50 today, obviously please give more. If you give more than that, that will go towards our general C4 work, that No on 115 work that we are working very, very diligently at. So please, we need your support now more than ever. This measure is very, very dangerous and these candidates are very, very wonderful. So please give and max out to the SDC.
Jenna, quick question, please. So the original get in the door was 50.
Yes.
Is that the 50 that we're including maxing, or additionally, if we went back tonight to do another donation, which are you referring to?
That's a great question, Michael. So if you already donated $50 and you want to donate more, we can absolutely take your money. Please give us your money. We can absolutely take it. Anything over that $50, that's what's going to go into our C4 programming. And I'm going to spend it on a lot of stuff to contact voters about No on 115. So anything over that 50, we can absolutely take it. Yes, please. And we will turn it around and spend it on some really great programming.
Thank you all. So much love to all of you. Be well, and we will see you soon.